I'm Joan Cartan Hansen. Thank you for joining us for this Dialogue Web Extra. We're talking about the smart grid and energy efficiency. Mike, tell us, what is a smart grid for those folks who haven't seen our half-an-hour program yet?
Well, I would simply say the smart grid is bringing a lot of the new technologies that perhaps we're familiar with, say, with cell phones and the phone industry, to the electric utility industry. You know, additional tools that we haven't had in the past that we can use to shape the way we use electricity, enhance our comfort at home, and, you know, hopefully lower our bills along the way.
Now, if you want to learn more about the smart grid, you can check out our half-an-hour program that we hopefully did a pretty good job explaining it, but I'd like to concentrate this web extra on energy efficiency steps that you can do now. I'm a homeowner, what should I have in my home now to help reduce my power bill?
Well, the first thing I always tell people is, you know, very quickly start to look for those low-cost opportunities. We all have them. And the first one that always stands out to me is infiltration. You know, as I point out to people, is if you go to the doors, the windows, and, you know, when the wind's blowing, you can feel that infiltration. If you took all those little cracks and you put them together, quite often you'd add them up and it'd be the size of a basketball. And imagine, you know, spending the winter with a hole the size of a basketball in your house. That's what many of us are doing. So to go in and, you know, put the little ceiling along the way, the weather stripping, make sure doors are shutting tightly, you know, all those sorts of things, you just cut down an incredible amount of infiltration. Second of all is, you know, look again for the cheap, you know, options. Lighting. I mean, CFLs, compact fluorescent light bulbs, they consume only 25% of an incandescent. They last 5, 6, 7 times longer. You know, great savings there. And as you start to move up and, you know, then start to say, hey, maybe I should be thinking about insulation or new, you know, when I've got to replace an appliance, how do I make sure talk to your power company or talk to the state. You know, they've got a terrific website, and, you know, they can help you, you know, make some of those, you know, right decisions when you've got to spend a little money.
Is there, if you're going to do one thing, spend money on one thing, what would that be?
Well, the first thing, of course, would be, you know, do your lights, because they're just so easy. They're on a lot, and, you know, heck, you know, this way I don't have to chase after my 17-year-old son and, you know, just shut off behind him. The next thing is insulation, because obviously, you know, everything that goes up and goes out. So if you don't have adequate insulation, or if you think you do, go up there and check it, because, you know, sometimes it settles over time, and, you know, maybe it just needs a little topper off. Or we know today that, you know, R19 that was good a few years ago, heck, you know, we're better off at R30. So, you know, maybe roll out some extra bats.
Smart thermostats.
Smart thermostats are certainly a possibility. You know, the thermostats today, we just put a new heating system in our house because, you know, ours was real old, and we got a smart thermostat. And as I was talking to the contractor, I was saying, well, how do I know how to ramp this up? And he said, this thermostat will learn that. It'll learn your house, and it'll learn how long it takes to ramp, and it'll automatically come on the right time, you know, so it'll be available. So, yeah, the technologies are moving along very quickly.
That's better than my programmable one, which I was so proud of when I got going.
You know, I always point out that I'm the energy efficiency geek, and I never figured out how to program. You know, I was just on-off type of guy, and now that I've got one that does it for me, it's like, shoot, this is great.
So if you are a businessman, if you're or a businesswoman and you have a business, that's a slightly different. What technologies should they be taking advantage of? Well,
again, you know, it depends, of course, if they own their building or if they're leasing. But the first thing to look at is those lights again. You know, getting the high efficiency, you know, T8s with electronic ballast. It's amazing. You can have easily a 2 to 3 year payback. And, you know, there's a lot of incentives that are available through the utilities here in Idaho and elsewhere in the Northwest. So, you know, definitely take a look at those lights. And then beyond that, you know, start looking at your purchase of office equipment. You know, getting, you know, Energy Star appliances, you know, for the office, just like for the home. You know, they've got tremendous savings.
Let me ask you about TVs.
Oh.
Flat screen, oh, that's great. They're high definition, they're wonderful, and they are power suckers.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
How much power goes to your television? You're telling me in California.
I was telling you in California, residential energy consumption in California, they've studied it, and today 10% of all residential electricity consumption in California is televisions. And this is primarily the flat screen TVs that people are adding. You know, the thing to keep in mind is, you know, not only the flat screen technology, but we just don't have those 27, 32-inch televisions anymore. I mean, we got these big honkers because we got to see that kickoff.
That's right. and fine programming here on Idaho Public
And
Television.
excuse me, yes.
It's called Vampire Power, those appliances that are instant on, but are constantly draining her. What can you do about that? I mean, do you have to unplug them from the wall? What has to be done? Well,
just, you know, one quick, again, factoid is that if you went into your house and you shut everything off and you did go out and look at your meter, I'm betting you're going to still see that meter spinning, because typically today 5 to 7% of all electricity consumption is going into what you referred to correctly as vampire power. You know, just, you know, the box sitting there ready for instant on. You know, you can go and get some new smart power strips that you can, you know, plug these devices in, and it will shut it off completely. And, you know, it's a program that we're developing, and we hope within the next year to be rolling out to the Northwest. Ultimately, what I want to see is just like when you know, hook a new printer up to your computer, and the computer says, "Hey Jones, there's a new HP 300 or whatever there. Do you want me to install it?" We should be able to plug our television and it'll say, "Hey Mike, you know, you just plugged in your television. Do you want me to make sure that when you shut it off, it's off completely?"
So that's part of the smart grid technology that's going to come.
That's part of the technology that's going to evolve, and we hope to be, you know, those type of strips aren't quite ready yet. Those are a few years down the road, but ones that can sense that, you know, they need to shut the device off completely, they're, you know, going to be ready in about a year.
The Obama administration has put a lot of money into purchasing smart meters for our homes.
Right.
How far away is that change?
Well, all depends on, you know, where you are. A lot of utilities have already installed these meters because they do allow the two-way communication. It allows a lot more accurate billing for people, and also allows for, you know, people to know if something's going wrong. If all of a sudden, you know, your bill just kicked way up, you know, you can talk to the utility company and they'll be able to help you better understand by going back and looking at that. So more of these meters will be coming over time. There's over $3 billion in the stimulus money just for infrastructure such as smart meters.
So I guess stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Mike, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking time to talk a little bit more about it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this Dialogue Web Extra. If you want to learn more, go to our Dialogue website and watch the half-an-hour program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on our Dialogue Web Extra.